my mum's mum, my mum's mum, her mum before, all come from that area. We married, the first record of those people was a fellow called Boorooberongal. He was the Karachi of the Warmali. And so his granddaughter married another Aboriginal child from, they were both half, if you want to, for lack of a better terminology. And they were from the Boorooberongal clan. Yarramundi was his grandfather, and her grandfather was Boorooberongal. And that was Sarah Castles and Robert, I think it was Robert Locke. Not Robert Locke, the one next down, so I think it was. And then from there, so that was Granny Castles, nee Locke. And then from there it goes to my Granny Moran. And Granny Moran married a little Irishman, and he was born on the boat over, and he was 4'11", and Granny Moran was shorter. And then from Granny Moran goes my grandmother, and then my grandmother is Florence Burke. She married a Burke, and my grandfather's from Etley Street. We haven't traced his history yet. He says he's related to Burke and Wills, but Burke and Wills died saying he had no descendants. But you've got to remember, back in those times, if they married black, they were disowned. And then my mother, Valerie Burke, married my father, Kevin Tobin, and then it's myself. So that's my family line.
So there's not a lot of, wouldn't be a lot of people in Sydney who would be able to go back and just even mention all those people in your family history. Why is that? Why do you know that? Why is that important to you?
When we were younger, we always thought, I was a bit, we were told we were a bit different, yeah. I thought I was from outer space or something, to be honest with you, because we just think very differently to other people.
Yeah.
And when I was about 17, a fellow called Kenny Webb, Uncle Kenny Webb, he rang my mum and said, "Are you Valerie Burke from there?" Because they grew up in the terraces at Harris Street, Harris Park, and that's where Auntie Joan Cooper was born. That's where Auntie Betty Locke was born. That's where Granny Nee Castles Locke. Granny Locke died. Granny Locke died the year my mum was born, in 1933. So, and mum didn't realise, but we were from the Darug family, the Sydney Aboriginals. And mum, like, if you met my cousins and all that, they're quite dark, and we used to say, oh, it was the Spanish, or maybe some Negroid or somewhere along there. And it wasn't. It was obviously the fact that we had, sorry.
That's all right.
This is my daughter, Killy May. This is another Unbroken Women's line. Killy May meaning bright eyes in Darug. Yeah, there's the baby. And so, and so in turn, we were then, so I was about 16, 17, and my cousin Chris Burke, she used to say, something's going on in the family, and she said, we're Aboriginal, but a lot of the family was sort of, like this. And then when you look at my family, my Uncle Ted, he was Teddy Castles, so he was from that Sarah Castles, and yeah, they looked Aboriginal, but we didn't see our family looking Aboriginal, we just saw our family. And if you get told we're Spanish or Negroid or something, you accept it. You don't say, nah. Oh, we did. We actually questioned a couple of times because they're really quite dark. And so then when Uncle Kenny said that, the family, it caused a lot of drama because some people want to identify and some people don't. And unfortunately, I think what happens is a lot of the families think the hard, abusive times part of our culture where there was alcoholism and the effects of colonisation on the families. And so it brings up all those horrific memories that they don't want to remember. They don't want to talk about it. And when I used to tape all the old aunts and uncles, they never talk about anything horrific. They always talk about nice things. Yeah? And so that was a different way. You know, you never hear them talk about bad things. But there was lots of bad things that went on. You know?
It's like some people who who will come back from a war and won't talk about the war, and then some people will. Yeah.
A lot of our men went to war, you know. Yeah. Most of my mum's family, my Uncle Tom, my Uncle Roy, my mum, they were all in the forces. Oh, yeah, my dad was in the Air Force, and I said to Mum, why did you join? And she said to get away from Parramatta, to get away from the hard life. Right. And ironically, when she got away from it, she missed it. She actually got homesick for Parramatta. And we always say you can take the girl out of Parramatta, but you can't take Parramatta out of the girl, because sometimes you can tell there must have been some hard times growing up.
So having all those relations and knowing your uncles and your aunties and being really kind of on top of your family history, what does that actually do for you?
Well, I was always
as
on
a
top
Permian,
of it. Well, on my dad's side, we come back from Vikings. So we always knew a family history, but when I'd go to ask Mum, like, because when you're at high school, they say trace your family history. So Dad's family came from Vikings to France, from France, that's where Tobin, St. Morgan, from France they went to England, that's why on our coat of arms it's touch me not, because we're on King's business, we married into the King of the Fairies, that's why the oak leaves. And then they were escaping from Ireland for treason, because they were standing up against the suppression of their race and their lack of language. And so I was strong in that, you know. I always knew my Irish history, but to find mums, and I used to say to Mum, where are you from, Mum? She goes, Parramatta. And I said, yeah, but where's the family from? She goes, oh, grandfather was Irish, because grandfather had an Irish brogue, but grandpa took Mum to La Perouse. Now, why would the white fella take the child to La Perouse? And also, grandpa died in Katoomba. He went to Katoomba to end his days. And just a lot of things that add up to an Aboriginal connection. What strengthens me, as I said, it gave me an understanding of why I think the way I do. It gives me a stronger connection to country. It made me understand, so we grew up with my Auntie Gladys Smith, which is my mum's cousin, but we always, whenever people were older in the family, or friends of the family, we would have to call them Auntie or Uncle. We never call anyone first name. That was just not the done thing, and even my Auntie Colleen now, she says, call me Colleen. I said, Auntie Colleen, it's been that long, I can't. I just can't, and that's Auntie Gladys' sister.
In terms of respect.
Yes. And I encourage my son to do it, because I think there's not enough respect. And I was talking to someone the other day, like my Aboriginality, I was brought up a strict Irish Catholic, you know, that sort of understanding. And now I look at it like to say, what's not to say this piece of grass, if God created everything, what's not to say this piece of grass won't come to my day of judgment to tell how it felt about me. Because if God created everything, we've got to look after everything, not just humans. And I think that's our arrogance as humans, and I think that's why the Earth's in trouble, because of our arrogance. You know, and I believe time past, like we had contraception as Aboriginal people, you know, because we couldn't have too many people living on country, because we had to share it with the rest of the family, which is your grass, your trees, your plants, your soils, your crystals, your mammals, your fish life. There was a whole lot of life besides us. And that's where my learning about my Aboriginality has strengthened my spiritual capacity, you know, and put the jigsaw puzzle, or the jigsaw puzzle.
Is it kind of like an understanding, or is it a link, or?
It's definitely an understanding, connection. Yep, it strengthens your connection. You feel very proud to be here in country. You feel very proud but also sad, because I come down the mountain, I see pollution. Mum used to eat meals out of Parramatta River. I used to swim in the Can River. A lot of these things are now inaccessible for us. So how can they ask us to show a continuation of culture when physically we really can't? I mean, as Darug did, we teach our children how to cross the road. Why? Because that's relevant to this day and age. And don't stagnate our culture. I feel that people stagnate our culture. We're all supposed to be there in lapse. If we went traditional style, I'd get arrested before I got out, just as after I got out the door, because I'd be naked. You know, and I'd get cranky at these people talking about what traditional wear they should wear in Australia. What about us? You know, and it gives me appreciation of Australia. We're not 200 years young. We're 40, 60,000 years old. We've got to grow up and accept our history. But not just accept our history, learn from our history, because right now we're not learning because no one knows it. And that's the problem in Australia. No one knows, and so they say Aboriginal people got chips on their shoulder. Why? Because they know their history. It's everybody else that doesn't know it, and that's why they're cranky, because you would be cranky too if you were in our position.
So would you like to say a little bit more about that history, how you see
a lot of
history over the last 60 years?
Oh, look, I used to go camping at Yarramundi. I grew up in Indian Plains. I mean, I wasn't born in country, I was born in Ballarat. And that was from my dad's side of the family, but all of the family were born in different states because Mum and Dad were Indians. And so I don't have that connection like a lot of others who were born in country. But what I do have is a respect of the other, many of the elders who have now passed gave me responsibilities, and I want to uphold that, because when I was younger, my Auntie Gladys used to talk about the gift, because there's a lot of family out there that have a different way of knowing, yeah? And it's not recognised in society that other way. And that's a real shame, because no one's been trained up in other ways of knowing. My Auntie Gladys and Auntie Colleen, they'd wake up in the morning if their hair was all over the place. They'd go, oh, I was astro travelling last night. You know? And one time my nephew got all excited. He says, oh, Auntie Jack, on 3rd stage wizard now, I can do astro travel from a computer game. And I said, excellent. I said, I'll come and visit you and show you how to do it in the real world. He goes, don't you dare, you freak me out. And I thought, what a shame.
Yeah.
What's wrong? You know, look, imagine, why would we invent a telephone if we didn't do telephone? Why would you bother? Why would you invent a television if you were constantly amused by the dream time? And I think we've been blessed as Australians, Aboriginal people. We were separate to, or the dehumanisation that you see around the world. You know, around the world, people, like, we watch murders on television all the time. I think that's disgusting. We weren't like that as a people. You know, and even some of the oral history I've heard and learned, because I'm not a reader, but I learned my stuff from sitting down with my old aunties and uncles. You know, that's how I learned, and still learning.
The kids learning like that now? Like sort of 14-year-old?
When they have an opportunity. I mean, how ironic, we have the largest Aboriginal population in Australia, and yet we have nowhere to practice.
Yeah.
It's just atrocious. We are the oldest recorded religious ceremony in the world, with the 40,000 dating of the ochre on the body, although now they're finding more in Europe. But we are not acknowledged as a religion. And yet people came to this country, were given our land to bring their religious beliefs to this country, and yet we have the largest Aboriginal population here in the western suburbs, and it's not practiced. So how is generations to come going to learn these things? And I have a little 2-bedroom cottage up in Mount Flick, and they don't fit in my cottage. There's not a lot of room, eh? So I had to build a pergola so more people could fit. But and I have my fire pit. I still practice a lot of my things. When the ceremonies were going on for 2012, we up the mountains did ceremony to be part of that log ceremony. But where do other children, even family members, doesn't have to be the kids. There's a lot of my family who are hungry for our culture and hungry to understand who they are. And what I've found is those that deny culture, some of them end up with mental health issues. Because no one's explained to them why they get those voices in their heads. No one's explained to them why they're seeing that fella standing in the tree. Why do they get those tingles in their body? Oh, did you feel that hand on your shoulder? That's okay, that's part of who we are. But there's no one there to help these kids to show that. And I quite often have a bit of discussion in mental health. What's a psychotic episode and when's our spiritual aspirations? You know, if Jesus came today, or Moses, or the burning bush talked to me, all right, you know, the reality of it. But if we had the colour, and we said that, it would be held in a different light. And I think because of the dismantling of our family, see, we're not the same. We had respect laws that go right across the country, but we're not the same. And when the people from Wintagula and other areas around the World Heritage people came to the mountains to talk to us, they said our story now is colonisation. Why? Because we've been colonised, and what our land was before through Rainbow Serpent and other creative beings, making this landscape has now changed.
And you want to just talk about how those changes, what those changes have been over the last?
Huge. Like even I'm only 40, like I'm 44 this year, and even to going up the like living in Emu Plains was like packed lunch from Parramatta. Honest to God, like none of the family from Parra would ever come that far out to Emu Plains. Heavens forbid, you know. And now I live in Mount Victoria, and they get a nosebleed when they think about it. But it's very sad to watch. If there's too many people, like there's a part of me that thinks how much people and buildings can you put on one land before it sinks? You know what I mean? We're on an island, and you keep putting all this heavy stuff on our edges. It could be a worry, you know. And I've driven from east to west coast, and you get to realise how flat the rest of the country is. Now, if you start sinking our side parts, which are like our mountains and things like that, you're going to have a lot of trouble because the rest of the country is underwater. And when this water's, you know, we've had people from NT come down because they're concerned with the what they call the rainbows, the serpent of the gas and the serpent of the uranium. And when those two meet, big changes on this planet. And they've come down and seen us right way. You know, like they respect us, and it's really hard when you go out of country. You get more respect than you do in country, and it's tragic. And what's happened?
Respect from other Aboriginal people.
Yes, and mainstream society. Yeah. And what's happened is a lot of people have been moved around. That was from that time of colonisation. You know, the native institutes, they were mostly, the first ones were local Darug people. But then they started moving people from other areas around. And one Wiradjuri elder one time said to me, you know, at one stage they were encouraging us to marry white fellas because we didn't know who was who. And one of the big things with our culture is you weren't allowed to marry back into your own. I mean, blue bloods can celebrate themselves as much as they want, but it really wasn't our culture, you know. And I believe our science, no one studied our science. Our science needs to be studied. You know, how did we genetically know that the mother, like the mitochondria, the mother handing down, that's women's law. How did we know, like, as I was saying, you know, when the land is us and we are the land, it's physics. It's just basic physics, and people pat us on the head like we're gooses. And it's not. It's look at the fire practice, and look what's happening. How many millions, billions of dollars is being spent on fire at the moment? And yet all you could do is get a bunch of couriers out there to burn all year, and life would be a lot better for all Australians. You can tell who's still burning in this country, the NT mob. The rest of it's on fire. You know? And even when I went across the country last year, around Uluru was on fire because that mob's not burning anymore. And this is a real shame because also that's part of the law and culture. Law, this is law. What goes up must come down. That's law. We're very practical people, you know. And I remember I was encouraged to go to university, and I'd been a bartender and a fisherwoman, so the last thing I was thinking of was going to university, I can assure you. But Auntie Pearl Warmali, she's a Thursday Islander woman. Actually, she grew up in Thursday Islander. She's actually Aboriginal woman from the mainland. But she encouraged me to go to university, and when some of the mob come down from Thursday and other areas to study, the lecturers would, you know, make us sit so long, and they go, why don't they just say it like that? You know, because it was sort of like, oh my God, you wasted time with that talk. You know, like really, and the humour of the people, you know. it's very, it's like slap happy humour, like you know, like it's a different way. Our humour, I think our humour's kept us in good stead because we've had to have a laugh at our history, because otherwise you wouldn't get out of bed. Really, you'd be depressed. And when I was looking at the mental health, being in training and things like that, and they say about what are the signs of depression, and I put up my hand, I said, oh my God, that's my community, because the signs of depression is how our communities are at the moment. And then they say to Aboriginal people, oh, you've got to be self-help and bring yourselves up and all that. How can you expect Aboriginal people to do that when you don't even acknowledge the history? How can you expect Aboriginal people to self-help as a law in this country just for Aboriginal people? This is, you know, Australia needs to acknowledge its old history. You know, there was a history here before colonisation. There was a history, you know, the Macassans had been, the Asian people had been mixing with the NT mob for a long time. They didn't come here and colonise. The Dutch came, they saw the West Coast and thought it was all like that. I mean, it was a shame because as Darug people we were here. So, you know, we were more, yeah, come in, what do you want? You know, they went like this and we took them to water.
So how have those effects of colonisation, how has colonisation actually affected your life as a Darug?
Well, that's a funny old question because I wouldn't know. What I do know is when I meet mobs from out of country, we can only have our toe in our culture here at the moment. We can't have a foot in both camps because we don't even have a head. It's very sad because I see other mobs and I see where they're going too, because really we should be studied very closely as Aboriginal people, the Darug people. Why? Because we're 200 years after the fact. And what I see in other areas is what my great-grandmother went through, or my great-great-grandmother went through, or the alcoholism and how that affects you. I mean, the only legal thing in this country is alcohol, and yet it seems to be involved just about with every law-breaking thing that under the sun. Why? Because it's a white man club. You know? I worry because also the ceremonies. See, the people were constantly kept busy. There was ceremony. People had to go walk into areas to catch up with each other and dance. We don't even get to meet the Darug or dance with the Wiradjuri at the time of the orchid, or meet up with the Gunningarra in Beds Basin with the Darug. You know, like, we had times when we would meet, we had times for ceremony, and the ceremony was about the rest of the family, which is your environment. And this is where people are like, how can people out in the middle of nowhere have some sort of aspiration when they're not even getting to meet other mobs like they used to? There's no infrastructure for them out there, and then what happens here? We all get trained up to be good white fellas. People aren't sustaining our culture, they're training us to be amazing good white fellas.
So what would you like to see happen tomorrow? You know, not from
Parks and Wildlife hand it back over to traditional owners of their territories. Traditional owners, not someone, because you've got to remember the system that they've put in place now. They've got a Frenchman, a Dutchman and a German coming into Spain and looking after it like a Spaniard. But they called us all Aboriginals. It's like saying all Europeans are the same as they're all white. No, and so in turn, traditional owners should be able to be responsible for the country. Stolen generations should be able to be accepted by traditional owners and give traditional owners their right. Privileges, like they're not privileged, traditional owners their rights.
What do you mean by a stolen generation should be able to be accepted by traditional owners?
Well, because I've seen a lot of people and community try to reconnect to their families. It's very sad. It's very sad those people were being taken away. We were blessed. We weren't taken away from our family, but we were taken away from our culture. And like we sometimes stumble in our culture as Darug people. You see these people who have tried to reconnect to their families, and the connection's not there like it was. And you know what? They feel more comfortable in my country. They feel home here. They don't feel home where they're from. and I think that there needs to be a space for those people. Adoption was never an issue in traditional life. It was always, you know, people would be welcomed into the mob and they became part of the family. And you would know your rules and regulations, your responsibility and calling. You know, in tribal life, you had responsibility to someone else, not just yourself. That's gone. Because what we say, me these days. And what's saving? You know, saving. Everybody's got greedy. This world's about greed. It's not about sharing. And then when we do share, we end up going backwards because we haven't got the flash house or the nice car or the jewelry or the you know. Aboriginal people didn't, you know, the only ones in the world who didn't manipulate something to make them like earth, dig up the earth to make a metal or a crystal. You know, that we had to wait till that crystal came up to the top because the earth was saying it's ready now. It wasn't for us to dig in and get. You know, there was and where is our value system in this society?
We were talking about community before and just trying to talk about what it is. How do you see community?
Like-minded people.
Like-minded.
Because you can't, what I've tried to do in the past is all people are community. It don't work. Yeah. And that's where we had different clan groups. You know, so people who are like-minded would be able to live in harmony. Well, right now, you're trying to mix a snake and a kookaburra. They're opposite. Kookaburra wants to eat snake. Snake wants to bite kookaburra. Why you keep trying to marry them together? And all of a sudden, we're all supposed to be all hunky-dory. Well, it doesn't work that way. And the thing is like-minded people can gather together, but it doesn't mean my way's better than theirs. And they're just different. Appreciating difference. You know, and I don't want somebody going to be in my camp who doesn't want to be in my camp. And vice versa, I don't want to be forced to be in someone else's camp who I don't have the respect or the connection with. But I want to have a camp.
So yeah, so you see that camp as consisting of anybody who's got nothing to do with race or gender or class or whatever like that. You know, none of those kind of Western kind of categories.
No, in the ideal world. Right now, give back to the people from the place. We own this place, and yet we have nothing to show for these traditional owners. How does and most of the people here rent, or pay a mortgage, or pay rates. You clever little sods. We know we're even trying to buy our own piece of land, and then you still want us to give you money for what? A falsely put government? They falsely put their government on this country. Their law system was falsely put on this country. They know it. I send a letter off with others as a sovereign woman to the Prime Minister. Now, if I was in some sort of treason, I'm sure I would have got a knock on the door. No knock on the door. Why? Because they knew under Cambridge law what has happened here in Australia was wrong. But they don't want these Aborigines to get too wised up. Oh, sorry, but you know, it makes me cranky because the truth of the matter is it's a big fraud. There's a big fraud going on in Australia, and you know what? Until the first people hit on this colonisation of disease are healed, don't worry about any other mob, because you've got to start with the first. Any ceremony, you heal the problem. You heal the start of the problem, or otherwise you're band-aiding. And right now they're band-aiding the rest of the country. You know, MT mobs or different mobs, they got their land back.
So when you're saying healing, you started the problem with that land and land rights.
It's not just land and land rights, rights.
Yeah.
Human rights. You know, right now we're trying to piece together a language. Why? Because you told the people they couldn't speak it. The abuse that went on in the families because of what your colonisation do-gooders. You know, we have plaques for people like Marsden and other people who are very nasty folk. So what are we aspiring to as Australians? what we're teaching our children, which should be something that is I know the world, like I see myself as so ideological, is the word? Yeah, ideological. You know, like I'd love it all to be hunky-dory. And look, I don't want to go back to old way. I don't want to be making my lips bleed when I was giving birth to my baby. You know, I don't want to hit myself over the head with a rock when someone dies. There's a lot of things, but I think too, as Darug people, we're blessed. I'll just put her out of the sun. There's only mad dogs and Englishmen are in the sun at this time of day. So, I think, let's actually speak the truth in Australia for a start. Let's tell the truth about colonisation. Let's tell the truth about how this government was set on this country. Let's tell the truth about, you know, like we had politicians and prime ministers denying that there was generations of children taken. We're slowly changing. But we're only changing for what looks good. We're not changing for truth and righteous ways. And let's face it, we're only 3% of this population. We're not going to get the vote. And they know it. And so in turn, Aboriginal, like, how can you say we've come a long way when there is a law specifically for Aboriginal people at the moment? And then it's turning into a class system because Aboriginal people are not affluent people. And so all of a sudden, oh no, it's people on welfare. Well, no wonder they're on welfare because you never gave them the money for their land that you stole. No wonder the people are depressed. No wonder the people, look at the jail population. How can we be proud as Australians? We still celebrate the suppression of a race on Australia Day. You know, bicentenary up in Springwood and they've got the red coats there. How do you think that makes people feel? Should we go out in the street and pretend to be dead? And show them how we celebrate those days? But we're not aggressive enough. Maybe we should have ate them like the Maoris, you know? But we didn't. Instead we showed them water. We tried to set an example. Instead of one woman married. You know, there's reports of the Darug, you know, we were constantly befriending the colonisers, you know. And Pemulwuy, he'd had enough. I reckon he just had enough. Like that Jimmy Black. Yeah, they had enough. And it's sad because I've had a bit of enough too. I don't want to do that, and I don't even wear the colour. What about those wearing the colour every day when they're still waking up here? Because Australia has not spoken its true history or appreciated the knowledge, the wisdom, the diversity of Aboriginal people. And until Australia puts its history right and speaks its truth, which we're starting to, but it's all prettied up here. It's all made pretty. Like, one of the cousins went to do the Dreamtime story where Bayami throws the spears in the back of Kudatir, the kidnap. And they said, oh, you can't do that. So what's happening is our Aboriginal children are learning the truth. The non-Indigenous children, or children from any other area, are learning a pretty little... Sanitised version. And yet the truth of the matter, we were raped, murdered, tortured and poisoned. We were enslaved, we were suppressed, we were demoralised. But I don't want to walk around with a guilt trip, but at least speak our truth. Let's get our history right, because how's Australia supposed to learn if it doesn't? And as I said, we're 3%, so 97% of Australia's population knows, and actually, well, that's giving credit that every Aboriginal person knows its own history. which isn't the case because they haven't been given the tools or the connections or the facilities to learn their truths. But 97% of most of Australia don't know their own history, but they live here. They drink our water. They live on our country. My brother talks about a family there's 2 houses, and he pays the rent to the other fella, and then finds out that fella killed his grandfather years ago, and his grandfather owned both those houses. How come everybody in the world gets a war crime? There's no fair court for Aboriginal people in Australia. Why? Because it's not our court. It's not even our law. It's an English law that Aboriginal people have to go and sit in. How can that be fair? That's a conflict of interest before we've even entered the door. And how come every other Australian, when it comes to property, gets to go to a common law court, and yet as Aboriginal people we've got to go in native title? And of all the requests from traditional owners around the country to this native title tribunal, 99 have been given to the miners? Because some people can be bought in this country. Just because they're Aboriginal doesn't mean money don't talk. But there needs to be some justice, because until there's justice, and they talk about reconciliation, how can you reconcile when you haven't got 2 even parties?
So that might be a good sort of point to finish on about what would you like, say, teachers who are training here at Macquarie to pre-service teachers to go when they go out to the schools. What would you like them to recognise? They're all required to teach something about Indigenous Australia, and particularly to have contact with their local community wherever they are. What would you like them to recognise, given that they don't have the power to change?
Well, not every local community is from the place. Number one.
Yeah.
So just because you speak with your local community doesn't mean you get the history of the place. 2, not all Aboriginal people are the same. Learn that there's at least 250 different countries. 3, have a value, if we can find the value system of that area where you're teaching. Learn their values. What do they hold sacred? You know, what is important to them. Encourage Australians to question their history, to know their history. I'd like to see a change in Australia, because it should be for all Australians. I think, research, find out the truth of Australia's history, and then give everybody, I don't know, it's really hard because I've been asked this question before, and we must sit down and have a really strategic plan, because even though we've got the First Nations sort of political parties and things like that, we're still playing into a political game in a system that isn't our system. So we're actually perpetuating bad behaviour. There needs to be some sort of understanding of how the law courts and how this government came into play in this country. Because until that gets challenged, we really don't have a lot of standing. We will never find justice in this country. Unfortunately, I think we have to go out to a world court.
There was a movement afoot in the 70s to recognise traditional law, but it seems like that's kind of gone by the way.
We'll recognise traditional law and then we'll give you an intervention. So you can't give birth to your child in that area. Oh, you've lost your native title connection. Sorry. Very clever. And there's a lot of shifty business that goes on. And that's what annoys me. The closer you get to it, the more it stings. You know, and this is what we're supposed to aspire to. Look after the country. Look after the earth. Look after it so there's 40, 60,000 years of this environment to come. Because I can assure you, the last 200 years wasn't looking after this environment. They're the sort of things. Encourage children not to be environmentally deficient, you know? Because I believe it's not just an Aboriginal thing, it's actually a human condition that's been lost by others. Because everybody had to fight over their land, fight for survival. Where it was a bit of a different story here. We had to fight for survival, but it was against the conditions of the place. It wasn't against each other. Oh, there was wars, but when there was a war, that's a big story for like hundreds of years. You know?
I can't remember whether we spoke about what land means to you. Did we talk about that beforehand, or did we talk about it before? What
Kind
land
of part of
actually
in it.
means? Yeah.
So the land's...
What does it actually mean to you? How do you look after land? How can someone look after land?
I grow my own vegetables.
Right.
I look after my little patch. I try to look after the larger environment. I think we need to get our fire practice back. That's law for us. That's our law. That's not a little fun thing. And people think, they did fire. It wasn't fire farm. It wasn't to get food. Oh, it was to actually make sure that the land grows well and produces the best it can. But it was actually a law. We've got to look after those animals and plants. Some plants don't want to burn hot. But right now we're burning so hot that you're going to get is your Banksia bottle hot burn plants. You know, there's medicine plants out there. As I said, Possum and Crow talk to me, and I tell the kids at the school and they get the giggles. And I said, who talks to their cat? Who talks to their dog? Whose parents talk to their garden when they're watering the garden and growing it? So what's the difference? How come natives can't be pets? Because right now there's millions of dollars being spent on dogs and cats, and we've got natives dying. You know, come on Australia, this is such a special, sacred place. You're not going to find this sort of environment anywhere else in the world. You're not going to find these animals anywhere else in the world. These plants. Look after this place. Sacred. That's what the land means to me, sacred. Because what we do to ourselves and the land is what we do to the land is what we do to ourselves. So self-abuse, that's what we're doing at the moment. And peeing in the waterway and pooing in the waterway, whee, that's different, you know? And yet we're recycling our water constantly. Yeah, it's strange. It's a strange one.